Good evening. Thank you for your patience. We're going to call to order the May 4th, 2026 meeting of the Wilson School Board. Roll call, please, Mrs. Burkholder.
Mr. Hart, Mrs. Casper,
Here.
Dr. Kennedy,
Here.
Mrs. Cocker, Mr. McCray,
Here.
Mr. McCree, Mrs. Royer,
Here.
Mr. Schneider,
Here.
Mrs. Denny.
Here.
6 present, 3 absent.
Thank you. If everybody could rise for the pledge to the flag. We're going to start the meeting with a 2026-2027 General Fund Proposed Final Budget presentation by Mrs. Schlossman, I believe, and Dr. Trickett. It's going to be co-facilitators. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Before we present our 2026-27 proposed final general fund budget, I'd just like to take this time to thank all those who are involved in building this budget. It's basically a 9-month process, and I just want to thank Dr. Trickett and our district leadership team, as well as all of our budget managers throughout the district, the finance team, the finance committee of the board, and the entire board. Thank you for all your support and help throughout this entire process. So we like to start our budget presentation with our district vision statement. To create a place where students love to learn, employees love to work, and people love to live. And we have images on this screen trying to capture that exact vision. And this budget is also a reflection of that vision. And now I'm going to have Dr. Trickett walk us through some of the Wilson statistics as well as our enrollment.
Thank you, Ms. Schlossman, and again, thank you for your tireless effort and focus on preparing the budget today and making sure that we are adhering to all the things that we have within. So again, as Ms. Schlossman mentioned, our vision statement is there. This is specific as to those that we serve. This is a look at those employees and the students and the community members within the Wilson School District. The board and the community has seen this slide for the past 5 years as we have prepared budgetary presentations. It continues to evolve and shift. Our student population on the far right-hand side continues to grow in diversity. Our students are a beautiful representation, really, of what our country and our state looks like. Specifically, you'll see some information regarding some of the indicators on the bottom right. As we continue with the slide deck, you'll see increases in all 3 of those areas. Again, unique to our school district, the fact that we transport all of our children through in-house services as opposed to outsourced contracted services. That's also true with our food service team. We own and operate restaurants in every single one of our buildings, which may take for granted at times. And again, that is something that is very different when you leave Wilson and look at different school districts, both regionally, across the state, and nationally. So again, just to focus on who we are and how all this money is distributed to meet all of their needs every day. Specifically, the goals that we have created, working collaboratively with students and staff throughout the last year. We look to these goals as drivers of how those resources are allocated. So when proposals come before us as a leadership team, checking back to make sure that we're actually doing what we committed to doing, and checking to make sure that that money is being facilitated and used in a way that meets the interests of our students and staff. So a little bit about our growth and our enrollment trends. Again, slides we have talked about over the years. I think it's important to continue to come back to those things that drive changes in the budgetary process. We all know that our district continues to be one of growth in residential construction, and also growth in commercial and retail construction. So it's a very well-balanced community off of major highways, which creates a lot of interest from local developers who see opportunity in those pieces of land. Specifically, as to those families we serve, from an educational setting, you'll see a variety of multifamily and single-family dwellings being built, currently under construction. Some have recently been completed, and some are in the proposal process. The areas in red identified on this map represent those developments that are currently being, again, under one phase of construction. It equates to nearly 200 single-family homes and 1,600 apartment/townhome style residential units. The purple dot, located kind of towards the middle top of this plan, shows where the district recently committed to purchasing a parcel of land, and that's right immediately off of State Hill Road. So planning for the future to ensure that we have opportunity to build in the event it's needed down the road. The pink dots represent the density of our population. Those dots, when this map was created, actually represent children and homes where they live, showing again where our families are and how they're spread across the 4 municipalities that make up the Wilson School District. Here's an enrollment growth trend report. This chart goes back to 2014 and goes up into 2030. You'll see from 2014 until 2024, we had consistent and steady growth. Each year brings on a new cohort of children, and there's always fluctuations, but looking at line of best fit and averaging over time, you can see that we've had that steady growth. The exception to that was this year. We actually realized a decrease in student enrollment based on October 1 snapshot, and that's important. Because when we do our staffing projections and we do our budget for the next year, we want to make sure that our budget's reflecting the kids that we're serving. It starts with the number of kids, but then it goes deeper into looking at individual needs of children and how we can best meet them in our school system. We did see an uptick on April 9th of this school year as we looked at that data recently and see that there is a little bit of an increase, and then we have recast our projection model that we've been using for some years to map out where we're heading. Key note here is that we have partnered with a new demographer, and early next fall, around the same time period, actually October 1st, when we get the upload to the state, we will be analyzing all of this information to get an unbiased third-party perspective of where the district is heading from an enrollment standpoint, from a construction analysis standpoint. That data will be used to help us with our comprehensive redistricting plan, but it will also be used to help the board plan moving forward. So digging in specifically to some of the children and different families that we serve, next series of slides will talk specifically about some of our student populations. So here specifically we're looking at K through 12 special education student enrollment. You can see over this period of time, the last 5 years, that we've had an increase of approximately 16% of students with IEPs. Again, typically with students with IEPs, we program differently to meet their needs, and oftentimes there are additional things we need to make sure are reflected in the budget to help support the achievement of the IEP goals that are in place. So again, steady uptick from 19% to 22% of our student population. When we look at our economically disadvantaged student growth, this is probably the most significant area of focus for the Wilson School District, an increase. You will see an increase over the same time period of nearly 500 students, or a growth of 22%. So representing 41% of our student population. This is an area that the district is focused on, not only from food and nutrition to services, inside school services, as well as out of school services, again, to make sure that all students have access and opportunity to achieve the goals that we have established for them. Our English learners, again, you will see an increase here year after year, again, with that exception of this year. I do think that that's partially related to the decrease in end count, or the total population of our students. You'll naturally see a little bit of a decrease in the actual number, but we are holding steady at 6%. So again, you'll see steady and consistent growth as our district has continued to change over the last 5 years. Christine.
So charter school enrollment and funding has been a hot topic over the last several years in the state of Pennsylvania. For the 2025-26 state budget that was passed late this fall, there was tuition reform in this particular area. Unfortunately, it was not like a flat tuition rate type of reform, but it was a reform in the calculation of the tuition rates. So if there's 500 public schools in the state of Pennsylvania, there's 500 different charter school rates in the state of Pennsylvania because it's based on each school's individual budget. So what the reform did in 25-26 is it took those budgets and provided for additional deductions that each school could implement as it was recalculating the new tuition rates. What it also did is it created 4 tuition rates for each school district, depending on the type of enrollment, whether it was cyber or brick and mortar attendance. So thankfully, the reform did assist us this current year in our budget process, where we will realize a projected savings of about $300,000. But as you can see, the tuition rates are still rather high. It's not a flat rate of $8,000 as the governor had proposed last year, or even $10,000 as our school board had proposed in a resolution last year. But it is in excess of those rates. So you can see that our enrollment for Wilson has pretty much steadied in the last 2 years. We are budgeting 121 students for next year. We're averaging about 118 right now, as well as that was the average in 24-25, up from the 88 students that we show in the leftmost bar there in 22-23. So because of the cyber charter tuition reform that took place this year, even though we're showing a little bit of an increase in the projected population of students attending cyber charter school, we are seeing a $1 million decrease, or 4%, from the current year's budget.
So related to the costs associated with our charter school is 2 programs that we house within the Wilson School District with the goal of, again, meeting the needs of children, personalizing their educational program and their pathways. Again, very large building. Our high school alone has 2,150 students. You'll see in the slide that's coming up, that high school would be directly in the middle of the total school district sizes in Berks County. So again, to restate that, just the high school alone is bigger than half of the school districts in our local region. So we provide a lot of different options for students. Gone are the days where every student comes to school at the same time, every student leaves at the same time, and that their pathway looks the same. Specific to the virtual programming, we do continue to offer a virtual program. It's a Wilson Virtual Academy that allows students to stay a Bulldog. They can graduate with a Wilson diploma. They can participate in all of our incredible co-curricular and extracurricular programs, and be as they want to be, as much as they want to be with their peers. They can create flexible schedules where part of their day is in person, part of the day is virtual, in a truly blended environment. We have to track these numbers not only for programming needs, but also for budgetary preparation needs. The cost to educate a student through our virtual program is significantly lower than that of a third-party cyber virtual, significantly lower. Many of these courses are taught by our teachers using our curriculum, and when that's not the case, we supplement with other providers to make sure that we have a full breadth of offerings for kids. So you can see approximately right now, we have the full-time equivalent enrollment of 145 students. Many of our students are not full-time. They take a class or 2 or maybe 3. But that is a projected cost of about $700,000 in overall savings if all the students were in a third-party environment of nearly $2 million. So while it's a program that's necessary in this day and age, it's also a significant investment and cost savings strategy for our local taxpayers. Newer to our program offerings is on the right-hand slide. It's our Personalized Learning Evening Academy. We run a day version of this as well that truly customizes and personalizing the experience for kids. It creates a safe, smaller learning environment where students can come to specifically work on their goals, focus on attendance, sometimes focus on participation, attitude, some social emotional skills, behavior. Credit recovery is a part of this model as well, really trying to support kids to getting to graduation because we know that diploma is so critical into their future success. Currently, we're very proud that we have 50 students in grades 9 through 12 who are in this program. It has grown from a handful of students years ago into a full running program with a dedicated space. Great kids being supported by great adults, really trying to help them achieve their goals and graduate. And then my last slide here talks about our full-day equivalents. So it just maps out those districts across Berks County. I think it's easy, we read newspaper articles or read on social media to compare one district to another, and we are all different. And there are different challenges and different needs, representing different student and family populations. So I would challenge everyone not to do that, not to look at one district and assume or generalize that it is the same in the next district. But here's where we sit. That includes our pre-K enrollment. We currently have 6,430 students, which is second to the Reading School District, which is one of the largest school districts in the state. And then you can see moving across the chart to the left, the size of our peers across the county.
As we had said earlier, our budget process started about 9 months ago in October, where the Finance Committee begins to look at our projections of the current year, the audit of the prior year, and we start to build our preliminary assumptions. In December of '25, the board voted to opt out, and basically that means that we would stay within the accelerated budget opt-out resolution or not to exceed Act 1 index, which for this year is 4.4% of an increase in the millage rate. Then January through April, the Finance Committee met regularly in a public setting to review changes that we were making, information we gathered from revenue trending and expenditure trending. And today we are at the May 4th board adoption of the proposed final budget, which is on the agenda for this evening. Then the budget will sit for 30 days. It will be viewable by the public in detailed form in the PDE format, which will be located on the district's website. And then we are scheduled to vote on the final budget on June 8th. In summary, the 2026-2027 proposed final budget has total revenues of $151.8 million, expenditures excluding the budgetary reserve of $158.1 million, for budgeted revenues under expenses by $6.3 million. That is covered by the use of our school district fund balance resources, $0.2 million of committed equipment fund balance, and $6.1 million of PSERS committed fund balance. The budgetary reserve is set at $3 million, consistent with the prior year, and that is covered by our assigned fund balance of $3 million, which has no millage impact. So we'll start by looking at our budgeted expenditures, including the budgetary reserve, which would be $161.1 million. This is a pie chart showing where the majority of that money is spent, and that is in salaries and benefits, as you can see, would make up 75% of total expenditures, with services, supplies, and property of $23 million, debt service of $11.4 million, a phase-in transfer for our Phase 2 construction projects of $2.7 million, and budgetary reserve of $3 million. The function or the type of expenditures are set up in this particular pie chart, showing our personnel investment of $121 million. So 68% of our total personnel investment is spent on instruction, as that is the core reason that we exist. 29% is support services, which also touch students' lives through counseling, psychology, speech, social work, also transportation, and our operations to keep our buildings healthy, safe places to be. And then 3% of personnel is our student activities and community services, which includes athletics and music programs. This bar chart shows the difference between the salary trending and the benefit trending. The salaries being in blue and the benefits in red. You can see that the benefits have actually outpaced the salaries by 49% over the 10-year historical bars that we see there. For the current 26-27 budget, we have 3.4% salary increases, which is contractual. This is the final year of the contract with WEA. The PSERS rate is 33.59% as certified by the PSERS board. That is our pension plan, which is a decrease actually of 0.41%. The Berks County District's Health Trust is the medical insurance trust that Wilson participates in, and the 26-27 year premium increased by 14.72%. There's also an extra 1% of employee premium sharing in the WEA contract for next year. Our budgeted services, supplies, and other expenses of $23 million are shown in a breakdown of this pie chart. For $23 million, this covers the intermediate unit services, other professional services, safety and security. It includes all of our utilities. It includes our equipment and leases for our Chromebooks, and it also includes our outside placement, Berks Career and Technology Center, and the charter school expense that we talked about earlier. Our annual debt service has a run rate of $11.4 million, which represents 7% of our total budgetary expenditures. This past year, the district issued $60 million in new debt for the finishing of our Phase 2 construction projects. We were given a rating of AA stable outlook by S&P, which is a very high rating. And we have total debt service of $198.2 million, which will be maturing in 2044. These are some great pictures of our construction currently underway. On the left-hand side, Southern Middle School, and the right, Lincoln Park Elementary. The phase-in for the additional staffing and operational costs started back in 21-22. In 26-27, we are adding an additional layer of $800,000 to the phase-in for a total of $2.7 million. When we do a comparison of Wilson School District spend per pupil compared to our other Berks County school districts, we are $2,224 below the county average, which is $26,470. So the most recent calculation of this, Wilson spends $24,246 per pupil for our entire operating budget. Next, we'll look at our revenues. Budgeted revenues, $151.8 million. You can see the split of local, state, federal, and other here on this pie chart. As you can see, we're heavy locally funded at 69%. This particular budget includes a $1.26 million increase, or 3.96%, which provides approximately $3.2 million of increased revenue. Our local taxes, including earned income tax, business privilege tax, transfer tax, are also in that local section. The state, we have budgeted $43.6 million. This includes 100% of the governor's proposed budget for basic and special education subsidy, as well as the Ready to Learn grant. Federal money, $1.8 million, includes our title grants and also our Access Medicaid funding. And our other revenues includes the GASB finance purchases, which has to do with leases and subscription-based types of leases, as well as our sale of fixed assets. One of the biggest challenges in this budget in the last few years has been our real estate assessment tax base. So historically, in the blue bars, you can see that we had an average of about 0.5% net growth. And when it comes to year-to-date May 2026, we've had an actual decrease of 0.9%. So you can see the last couple of years we've had some decreases. The farmost right bar there at 1.3 negative growth is our projected ending tax assessment base for this particular budget year. And what that is it's the combination of all of the tax appeals that we've actually realized, plus there's tax appeals in the pipeline that are undecided at this point. So we've projected 50% of those coming to fruition. So what this shows is that even though you see lots of development occurring in this district and you see a lot of ground moving, there's actually appeals going on in the background that have exceeded our growth. So when you have a decreasing tax baseline and you tax on it, some of your tax is making up for lost revenues, which is the case in the 26-27 budget. The Act 1 Index and the Independent Fiscal Office do a forecast related to the Act 1 Index in the future years. You can see there's some history there, the red being the base index and the orange being the adjusted index. Wilson does have the adjusted index apply to it because our market value personal income aid ratio is greater than 0.4. So you can see for 26-27, adjusted index is 4.4 for Wilson, and the base index for everyone across the state was 3.5. And you can see going forward that will be coming down slightly. So this is a graphic of our historical 10-year millage change. The blue line representing the actual millage change for Wilson, the red line being the base index, and the orange line being the adjusted Act 1 index. So our budget for 26-27 includes a 3.96% increase. As you can see, falls about right in the middle between the base and the adjusted index this year. Historically, even with that into consideration, our 5 and 10-year averages have been below the Act 1 base and the adjusted Act 1 index. This slide shows progress that the Finance Committee of the Board has made throughout this 9-month process in developing this budget. In February, preliminary budget included a 4.3% increase or a 1.39 mil increase. And then as we worked through different scenarios and revenue trending and expenditures, we were able to bring it down in March to 1.35 or a 4.25% increase. And then with some other current events that were happening in our projections, we were able to bring it down to 3.9% or a 1.26 mil increase. And as I had stated before, that second bullet point there shows that the actual appeal losses equate to $1.2 million in lost tax revenue, or an equivalent of 0.49 mils. So with that in mind, where do we sit compared to the rest of the school districts in the county? That information is not yet publicly available, but based on some surveying that has been done, I believe that Wilson is still positioned to be in the bottom third of the county for millage increase. When it comes to the actual impact to taxpayers, this chart shows the assessed value of a homestead in Wilson School District. The median being the $122,555 for assessed value, the average being $140,000, and the 75th percentile being $169,100. So that means that 75% of our homestead owners in Wilson School District have an assessed value on their property of $169,100 or less. So the tax bill last year, before any homestead was taken off, would have been $5,377. With the newly implemented millage rate for 26-27, that would be $5,590 or a $213 increase, or $17.75 increase per month. State funding, as we had said earlier, we had incorporated 100% of the governor's budget proposal for basic ed, special ed, and ready-to-learn funding. The yellow box that you see with the border around it in the last 3 years is the ready-to-learn adequacy funding. Wilson was one of the 348 school districts who were identified in the Commonwealth Court ruling as having been underfunded. Across the Commonwealth, school districts were underfunded by $4.5 billion. So in 24-25, the state budget included its first adequacy installment to try to cover that gap, which represented about 1/9 of the total gap, or $493 million. So Wilson's share of that has been $1.9 million. That has been incorporated into the last 3 budget proposals of the governor. Therefore, we have that incorporated into this year's coming budget. However, there's no guarantee that we're going to keep on that momentum and that the state can afford to continue those payments. Our special education costs have increased, as you can see on this graphic, from $19 million, in 2017-18 to our proposed budget of $33.1 million. As you can also see, on the blue and purple section of the bar is the percentage that the federal and state governments supply to cover those costs versus the local taxpayers, which is at 81%. So that has been very challenging, and that's an area where the state and federal governments need to really focus on assisting the local school districts with these costs. And the last piece of our funding relates to our general fund balances. So in this particular budget, we're proposing the use of $6.3 million, which represents 20% of our fund balance. When we do a budget, we always look in the future as well. We don't look at just one particular year because we have to be fiscally responsible into the future. So this is the point where we did the projections, and at the finance committees, we look into them more in depth than we're going to do here tonight. But with the projections, we are still able to meet our fund balance policy, which requires us to maintain at least 3% of the subsequent year's budgeted expenditures in fund balance. In the year 29-30-ish is when we have a very large development coming onto our tax rolls, which will not have us being required to use so much fund balance, and we'll put those revenues back into our local pie chart and bring that assessment back up to where we have been. So we're looking forward to those tax revenues coming in, not only real estate tax revenues, but also earned income tax and some transfer taxes coming along with that, including business privilege taxes as well. So this is our pie chart. It shows the portion of the fund balance that we would be using to balance this budget. At the end of next year, June 30th of 27, we would project to have $25 million in our fund balances, or at least 8 weeks of budgeted expenses. And in conclusion, as we had talked about our timeline tonight, the budget is up for board approval for proposed final. It will sit for public review for 30 days. In between now and June 8th, we will make any adjustments based on any new projections or information we receive. And June 8th will be the board adoption of the final budget. Looking past June 8th, we are obviously, as you can see in the pictures up on the top right corner, in the midst of major construction projects. So we will be looking to continue that successfully. We will also be looking at redistricting, monitoring our enrollment, as Dr. Trickett had mentioned, with some new projections. We'll be assessing our student needs, evaluating our programming, and also analyzing our staffing needs that go along with that. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett and Mrs. Schlossman. Mrs. Schlossman, I'm glad your voice held out. You always do such a good job of taking a complicated subject and making it very understandable, especially when you're dealing with such complex numbers. And one of the things that I think this administration does so well is present a budget in a way that deals with the immediate but also looks at the future, which is our responsibility. We have a fiduciary duty to not just take care of our students today, but to set up our community for the next 10 years and the next 50 years. So thank you for that presentation. It was outstanding, and we appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Moravich, do you have any solicitor announcements?
I do not.
Okay. We do have public participation on agenda items. Do you wish to give?
Sure.
Thank you.
Rules of public participation for school board meetings pursuant to Sunshine, Roberts Rules, and board policy. The following are the rules of public participation. Individuals attending the meeting are expected to conduct themselves in a responsible and respectful manner that does not disrupt the meeting. Public comment is not question and answer, but instead is an opportunity to offer comments on matters that are or may come before the board. In particular, personnel matters or student matters may not be commented on, even if the employee, parent, or student is speaking because of confidentiality laws. As it relates to questions, the superintendent may assign an administrator or may speak directly to the speaker after the meeting to attempt to answer those questions. All comments should be directed to the board as a body, as it's the board that will need to vote on any future matters. Clapping, calling out, and cheering is not permitted. Individuals should speak from the lectern. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes, and I will try to provide an uninterrupted 1-minute warning. Any persons making threats could be removed from the meeting or cited by local police. These expectations are outlined in Board Policy 903, which is embedded on the district's website within Board Docs. At least for now, it's within Board Docs.
Thank you. And Mr. Moravich, can you clarify, we have a gentleman who wishes to speak on both two agenda items, 6.2 and 4.8. Does he then get 6 minutes, or?
Typically not. Unless it's
He gets, okay. So, Mr. Head, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, board members and fellow community members. My name is Sean Head, and I'm a proud parent of 3 Wilson Bulldogs. Thank you for the opportunity to speak during the public comment for agenda item 6.2 on the proposed game and event pay rates for the next 3 years. I appreciate the ongoing efforts to support our extracurricular activities and dedicated people who help to make them possible for our students. But as I review the rates, I saw an opportunity to better align compensation to the level of skill and responsibility required for each role. There appears to be a meaningful disparity between unskilled front-of-house positions such as ticket sellers and ushers and the skilled roles that are critical for running successful events. Across sports for the next school year, ticket seller rates are generally $54 for each event, producing effective hourly rates ranging from approximately $22 to $47 per hour, with football ticket sellers that only work until halftime topping out at almost $47 an hour. For the same events, skilled roles such as scorers, timekeepers, clock operators, statisticians, and announcers receive a more modest effective hourly compensation, typically in the $22 to $34 hour range. The athletic trainer rate for Wilson-hosted tournaments provides another clear example. It's currently $37 per hour this year, and thankfully it's increasing to $45 an hour for next season. But this change is appreciated and further illustrates the need to reassess pay priorities to better align with the specialized skills required to execute these important roles. A very recent example of this gap came during the opening of the Wilson Performing Arts Center with the Cinderella musical. Agenda item 4.8 indicates ushers were paid $18 an hour, while the orchestra and pit musicians, whose skilled performance is essential to the production, received only $15 an hour. I respectfully encourage the board to direct administration to review these extracurricular stipends with a focus on better balancing pay between roles that get people to their seats and the skilled roles that make the events themselves successful and meaningful. Thank you for your time and continued dedication to support the students of the Wilson School District.
Mr. Head, you did not use all your time. Did you wish to also speak on 6.2?
It was all kind of.
It was all in there together. Well, thank you for your comment. We appreciated it.
If you have copies of the analysis from the production of what those rates are for the finance committee.
She can eventually see the forecast.
Thank you. The board met in executive session before tonight's meeting to discuss personnel and property. I am looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the school board meeting held on April 13th, 2026.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Do we have a second? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Is there any discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Student outreach. Ms. Ding.
First off, a huge congratulations to Julia Xie and Anna Tran for earning third place in financial analysis at the Pennsylvania FBLA state competition. They have qualified for the competition soon. And then thank you to the art students at the high school who installed a gorgeous music-themed mural in the F hallway. They have recently started a new mural that features a girl listening to music. Our Shiloh Hills Elementary students recently enjoyed a hands-on engineering experience. With the help of students from Penn State Berks, they designed and launched custom paper rockets, sparking great excitement about future STEM careers. The theater department's production of Cinderella in the new auditorium was a big hit. Thank you to all the community members who came out to support. And then congratulations to the 10 Wilson art students who won awards in the 2026 BCIU art exhibit at the Goggle Works. And recently, we celebrated our senior student athletes during the annual signing day. As these students commit to playing at the collegiate level, we wish them the very best of luck in both their academic and athletic futures, as well as congratulations to the boys tennis team, who were named the 2026 BCIAA champions. And last Saturday, prom was a huge success, and thank you to the prom committee and everyone else involved for all their hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ding. Dr. Kennedy, do you have a teaching and learning report?
I do, thank
Thank
you.
you.
For elementary updates, the Reading Olympics was held. Again, it was a great turnout with 230 elementary students on April 16th over at Southern. And it was so popular that it was standing room only. The kindergarten registration has been held. There are in-person registrations for kindergarten. Parents should register online first, then bring their child to an in-person appointment to meet our staff. It is important that parents remember to bring their child because they'll be doing a little bit of assessments and meeting the child and just getting a highlight of them. There is discussion about third grade cursive implementation as required by the state, and there is a math and phonics task force right now looking at different curriculums that are out there. I will say the oddest moment of the meeting might have been when we discovered that not only do our students need to learn how to write in cursive, but our brand new teachers also need to be learning how to write in cursive, because we have now graduated students not only from high school but from college who do not know how to write in cursive. So that was a little bit of an alarm bell. Hopefully we're fixing that now. For middle and high school, there's science and social studies. The STAR Lab is currently at West, and it's going to move to Whitfield and then back up to the high school. There's been several outdoor immersion events coming up in May, including Mission Martinique and Field and Stream Days, which will be held at West. Congratulations to the Southern Middle School Band, Orchestra, and Chorus on their successful adjudications. Looking ahead, West will host the Counting Reading Olympics on May 9th. Teachers for Science and Social Studies are meeting one last time before summer to finalize vertical standards and assessment alignment. The high school team presented the idea for a math lab for 9th grade students during the school day so that they can support students moving from a regular 8th grade, a double block period in 8th grade to a single period in high school for Algebra 1. And I just think that is such a great idea because the double blocks have been so wonderful in in the middle schools, that it would be really jarring to go from that to half the amount of minutes to then take Algebra 1. And we're really trying to encourage students not to give up after they finish that Algebra 2 requirement. We'd like as many students as we can to move on to higher level math. And we're hoping that offering that extra time in 9th grade will encourage students to feel more successful in math. We're going through a transition in the Wilson Virtual Academy. We're moving our third-party courses from BVA to Edgenuity. Currently, we have over 500 enrollments in our in-house virtual courses and over 530 in third-party courses, and a lot of them are students who are not full-time. They're students that couldn't fit something in their schedule for some reason or another, and that's really a great addition for our high school students to be able to take the classes that they want during the school day. District staff will participate in summer book studies aligned with our district goal of student-centered learning. We are anticipating a 10% increase in the cost for 6th grade camp for next year, and the cost really did hold steady since we moved to Camp Conrad Weiser, so this will be that first such increase. We are, in order to keep our behavior management consistent across all of our elementary schools, Green Valley and Whitfield will transition to the Swiss SWIS system for next year, which brings all the elementary schools on board, and that is a way that you can track disciplinary and behavioral infractions throughout the school year. It's kind of like an in-house register of, so even if a child went from school to school, you could still look and see what was going on with their behaviors. We have finalized dual enrollment agreements with St. Joe's and RAC, and we're planning to implement IXL for high school math and ELA in 9th grade. And we have completed the policy review, the review of policy 102 and 105 regarding academic standards and curriculum development. And that is all I have for teaching and learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like it was a very productive meeting. Ooh. Yes, that is shocking. Okay, I'm going to be giving the Operations Committee report for Mr. Hart this evening. The Operations Committee met on Monday, April 20th, and discussed all agenda items. Mrs. Schlossman and her team presented the updated construction budget, which outlines each project, costs incurred to date, and remaining funds and overages. We also discussed each of the 4 construction projects and provided updates on current work and overall construction schedules. We have advanced aspects of the phasing at Southern Middle Schools in hopes of reclaiming some of the lost time at the beginning of the project. The team at Southern, including students and teachers, has been great to work with, and things seem to be moving forward. And even though everything costs more than it costs and takes longer than it takes, as of right now, it looks like we're going to end up in totality with all of our projects a little bit ahead. So that's good news. We're going to keep our fingers crossed on that. On the agenda this evening is a change order for Lincoln Park Elementary School construction in the amount of $679,318.31. $666,671.28 of that amount is for the final parking lot stabilization. And when we get to that point on the agenda, I'm going to allow Dr. Trickett to provide some additional detail on that because it is a rather large amount. So next up is Mr. McCray, who I believe has not one but 2 Finance Committee reports because of the way the committee meetings went over the past month.
Yes, that is correct. We've actually met twice since our last meeting on Monday, April 20th, with the Operations Committee in a joint meeting, and then also earlier today at 4:30. Obviously, a big portion of the initial meeting was focused on the budget for next year, which Mrs. Schlossman and Dr. Trickett did a great job presenting, so I'm not going to rehash that for anybody here at 8:02 p.m. Instead, I will kind of move forward with other items that were discussed. We did discuss, for example, proposed driver ed fees, which we will vote on later in this meeting as well. Then today, we heard presentations on the food services budget for next year, along with the early learning and childcare budget. Those will both actually be on the agenda for our next meeting for review and approval. I will highlight, however, from the food services budget that there are no price increases for meals next year projected, which is a great thing to hear. Other than that, our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Troutman, Public Relations?
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple things. First of all, concert and art show season has officially kicked off. In fact, I believe there's 2 concerts occurring right now. But our community is invited to join all of our talented Wilson musicians and artists at our upcoming musical concerts and art shows. We're so incredibly proud of these students and teachers who have worked so hard this year to present their talents to our community. And as a reminder, all art shows and concerts are free and open to all community members. Of particular note is that our high school art show opening night is tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. in the new Performing Arts Center lobby. I encourage you all to come and see the hundreds and hundreds of unique pieces of art that our students created. It's incredible. The talent of our students is amazing. And a lot of the artwork is for sale, so you'll have the opportunity to even purchase some unique art that our students have created. And then next, we are celebrating Staff Appreciation Week this week here at Wilson. Many of our HSAs and PTOs are planning special celebrations for our staff, and we just want to publicly thank them for all they do for our Wilson community. We couldn't do it without all of them and all of their assistance. In addition, the district leadership team has a number of recognition events, including visits to each department and classroom, which actually happened today. And we also have some special social media campaigns underway, so be sure to check us out on social media this week as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Troutman. And hopefully everybody is being nice to the staff this week, because they deserve appreciation every day, but this is their week to get recognized. So do we have additional reports? Mrs. Casper, I believe you have a report?
Yes, I do. Thank you, President Denny. I have a report for BCTC. The Joint Operating Committee met on Wednesday, April 22nd at the West Campus. During our Committee of the Whole, we said farewell to Dr. Christine Rosenberger, who is the principal at the East Campus, who will be retiring at the end of this school year. We also honored Peter Moyer with the 2026 BCTC Lifelong Friend Award. Mr. Moyer is the fleet maintenance trainer at East Penn Manufacturing and a graduate of BCTC's Automotive Technology Program, class of 1984. He has dedicated more than 20 years of service to the Diesel Technology Occupational Advisory Committee, where he has served as co-chair and mentored new committee members. In addition to his advisory role, Peter has supported student success as a judge and evaluator for our NOCTI assessments and as a Skills USA competition judge. BCTC students are busy wrapping up the school year and participating in many local, statewide, and national events. The Business Management and Entrepreneurship Program recently pitched their company idea during the 20th anniversary of the Schmidt Training and Technology Center at RAC. They presented before Robert Herjavec, who appears as a regular investor on Shark Tank, where aspiring entrepreneurs pitch their business ideas to a panel of potential investors. The student leadership team presented Proxima, a virtual student-built company that is part of Virtual Enterprises International. Proxima is an AI-powered communication technology company created by students in 2025. The company offers innovative accessories such as earbuds, highlighters, and glasses that translate spoken audio and written text into the user's language of choice. Interesting. Participating students included Wilson Senior Van McElroy, who is the Chief Technical and Design Officer for the company. BCTC's culinary students also contributed to the event by preparing cookies for the attendees featuring the creative tagline, "A cookie is always worth the investment." BCTC also participated in Career and Technical Education Day, or CTE Day, on April 22nd at the Pennsylvania Capitol Building in Harrisburg. The annual event brings together students, educators, and lawmakers from across the Commonwealth to highlight the value and impact of career and technical education. Representing BCTC were Dr. Stauffer, both campus principals, and Wilson Senior Reese Stadelmeyer, along with other students and administrators. The mission of CTE Day is to provide students with the opportunity to engage directly with members of the General Assembly through interactive exhibits and demonstrate the technical skills they are learning and the importance of career and technical education for both their futures and for Pennsylvania's workforce. And then just to highlight a few important events coming up as the year is wrapping up quickly. New student orientation takes place on May 13th and May 14th. If you want any further information about the orientation, you can check the BCTC website. Also, Senior Recognition Day is coming up at the end of the month on May 26th from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Santander Arena. The event will be live streamed. Again, for more details, you can check the BCTC website. I also want to acknowledge that today our 8th graders visited the West Campus. I know I have a rising 9th grader who visited there and came back with a lot of goodies. So very impressed with, of course, all the programs and the expansion of the programs and just the popularity of BCTC, which is definitely a gem in our county. And really just kind of bursting at the seams at this point. So I'm glad to hear that our students were able to visit and become familiar with a lot of the programs there. Our next meeting is on May 27th at the East Campus.
Thank you. Dr. Kennedy?
I have a BCIU report, along with the different agenda items where we have an agreement with the BCIU and the BCIU bids. I did want to mention that the BCIU held its yearly Annie Sullivan Awards, and I wanted to say congratulations to Wilson's Erin Knight, who's a paraprofessional in the district, and she was nominated for the Annie Sullivan Award. They made a mistake and she didn't win, but we'll forgive them for that. The only other thing that I wanted to shout out the BCIU for is just in the past month, they've done 3 different advocacy days, advocating for different aspects of public school, meeting with lawmakers, inviting lawmakers to the BCIU, going to Harrisburg, and they're just a really great partner for public schools and a good advocate for public schools, so I appreciate that. So that's all I have for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a Committee of Legislative Affairs report. We met on April 14th. This time last year, there was a lot of discussion about the budget. As you all may recall, they were 5 months late in producing the budget. The good news is that the thought is that the budget should be mostly on time this year, and it should be mostly like it was last year. They expect that because it is an election year, and all of our elected officials are going to be too busy trying to get elected to be too concerned with fighting over the budget. The bigger issue is that they have a lot of concerns about next year's budget, particularly for education funding. As Mrs. Schlossman touched on a little bit, because of a case law that found Pennsylvania education funding was unconstitutional, they looked at schools like Wilson that were chronically underfunded, and they gave something called adequacy funding. And so for the past 3 years, they looked at what our funding was from the state, and then they added on the adequacy funding, and then that became the base. And then they added on the adequacy funding, and that became the base. And then they added on the adequacy funding for 3 years. The problem is there is not a long-term plan for how they're going to continue to fund this. And though they have put unprecedented monies into public education, which is wonderful, it's still woefully underfunded, particularly special education, and they just don't know how this is going to continue, even though they're only 3 years into what's supposed to be a 9-year plan. So they expect that next year is going to be the battlefield for this. So you can start popping your popcorn now, and we're going to see how that all works out. In the meanwhile, the goals for the next year that they're looking at, they're continuing to look at advocating for cyber charter tuition changes. They did make changes, as Mr. Schlossman also touched on, that benefited us tremendously, but the legislature did not pass the $10,000 cap for all schools, because right now, a student from Governor Mifflin, a student from Wilson, and a student from Topahawken, who all go to the same cyber school, all pay a different amount. Which is ridiculous, because clearly it doesn't cost different amounts. So we're still hoping to get a set thing for that, but again, they don't have a lot of hope for that either, because they did make some progress. The big thing that they're really going to be working on is trying to change state mandates, and so this is something that all of the districts in Berks County are going to really promote. I brought in a visual. This book here, I'm going to hold it up for anybody watching at home. These are all the state mandates. So anytime Wilson or any school district wants to do something, they have to make sure that they are following all of these state mandates. So you can imagine the manpower and the time and the money and the legal fees that we're paying to make sure that we're doing all of this. And then this one here is just the revisions that have happened. So, this is largely Dr. Hoffert's area, I think, but, and he's pretty much an expert on this. He has his own mini JD without actually being a lawyer, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of waste of time and effort. So they're going to try to get some of this stuff pared down to make us be able to concentrate on education rather than mandates. They're also working on they're advocating for changing in advertising requirements, because right now, anytime we change a board meeting, Mrs. Burkholder has to go and contact and put it in the Reading Eagle. Now, I would take a poll how many people still get get actual print papers. It's very few and it's very expensive. I did see a hand back there, I think, but most people don't. So I see another hand. That's great. My dad does too, and he shares with me what he reads. But yeah, they're trying to change it so that it can be put online, which would be easier and truly reach more people. And then the last thing that they're looking at is bid thresholds, which would change from currently, if anything's that we're going to do in the district is more than $18,500, we have to, I think, get 3 competitive bids, or we have to get a number of competitive bids. Well, $18,500 in the scheme of things is not a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time and effort to get those bids. So they're hoping to get that increased to $100,000. So next year I'll report how much of that actually changed in Harrisburg, but I think they're all really good goals, and hopefully we can see some progress. The Committee on Legislative Affairs will be taking the summer off and meeting again in September, so that will be great. All right, Dr. Trickett, the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Denny. This is a very exciting superintendent's report this evening. Just want to make a comment regarding the change of status section. We started about a year ago just trying to condense the board agenda as far as the amount of writing that's in each individual section. However, there's a ton of information within the attachments. So specifically in this section 4.3, we have CPR stipend. That is a stipend going out to classroom instructional assistants in our special education classrooms who have worked with the district to get their CPR certification, and in doing so allowed us to access potentially more revenue coming in addition to meeting the needs of our kids. So not only did they work with us, they helped us, but also just want to thank them for being willing to do this above and beyond what they normally do in their workday. So thank you to all of you who agreed to do this, who went through the training. The district greatly appreciates your efforts, and hopefully this small stipend is a sign of our appreciation. Additionally, under change of status in the PDF listed beside that, we have a ton of status changes. And status changes could include, and mostly include, people who are in a job role within the school district, but are shifting job roles. So you won't see them on the agenda as new hires, because they're not. They're just simply changing their status. It could be an increase in hours, it could be a change in placement throughout the district, but but these folks need to be celebrated. These are teammates who are staying within our district, who are serving kids, helping us achieve our goals, and they're just presented in a different way. So to all of you that are on there, many of you are here in LTS placements in different capacities in buildings for next year. Again, thank you for committing to the Wilson School District and for all that you're going to do to educate our children or continue to do to educate our children. In addition, tonight, it's a busy time of year for our hiring committees, our teams, our principals, the HR department, and so many others. You will see support staff hires. You will see under 4.6, we have a handful of professional hires. These are folks who are coming to join our team, and they're going to be joining our team this coming school year. There are a variety of them that are listed. There are a couple of them that are here tonight. Amelia specifically, hello. I see you. I see Kiara. Hello. Are we friends? Fiance, I'm sorry. Very nice to meet you. And friend. Wonderful. Well, welcome to both of you as well. Thank you for being here. So there are two of our professional hires that are listed. It's not required that people come to the board meeting, actually a little bit of a shift, so we appreciate you both being here today. As well as some substitute teachers and the extracurricular pieces, which Mr. Head spoke about earlier. So appreciate your comments today, and as a team, we will look into the information you provided, Mrs. Burkholder. That's my report.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett. Looking for a motion to approve superintendent items number 4.1 to 4.8. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Do we have a second?
Casper.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Welcome to Wilson. Look forward to seeing you at the new teachers events in the fall. Item 5.1, looking for a motion to accept with gratitude the donations listed below. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Do we have a second?
Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Any discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are always so thankful for the community support that we receive. Item 6.1, request to approve Mary Ann Spiata as BCBA district-wide. Item 6.2, request to approve the extracurricular compensation plan for athletics and non-athletic extracurricular compensation plan. Looking for a motion to approve human resource items 6.1 and 6.2.
Casper.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Royer. Any discussion? Okay, then this is a roll call.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Item 7.1, request approval to renew a service agreement with Keystone Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services 2026-27, pending solicitor review and approval. Item 7.2, request permission to waive tuition as per Board Policy Number 202, eligibility of non-resident students. Item 7.3, request approval of a resolution approving and adopting a student discipline waiver and consent agreement dated April 21st, 2026. Item 7.4, request permission to renew a contract with Conrad Weiser Decision School for one special education student for the 2025-26 school year, pending solicitor review and approval. Item 7.5, request approval of summer hours for school psychologists, school nurses, school counselors, and school social workers as presented. Item 7.6, request permission to approve the Berks County Intermediate Unit Agreement for their 2026-2027 school year as presented. Item 7.7, request approval of the district special education plan for the 2026 to 2029 years as presented. Item 7.8, request approval of a settlement agreement and waiver to release past claims as presented. Item 7.9, request permission to enter into an agreement with Kids Peace National Centers, Inc. for provision of their private academic program for the remainder of the 2025-26 school year, pending solicitor review and approval. Looking for a motion to approve student service items 7.1 to 7.9.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Do we have a second? Dr. Kennedy? Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Item 8.1, looking for a motion to approve a new 60-month lease agreement for a Ryko multifunction copier from Straytech Systems to replace an expiring lease for food services at a cost of $119 per month as attached.
McCray.
Thank you, Mr. McCray. Do we have a second?
Casper.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Item 9.1, request permission to purchase district art supplies through the BCIU bid for July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027 as attached. Item 9.2, request permission to purchase district classroom and office supplies through the BCIU bid from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Item 9.3, request permission to purchase district custodial supplies through the BCIU bid for the period of July 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2027, as attached. Item 9.4, request approval of change order number 2 with Lobar Inc. for the Lincoln Park Elementary School construction in the amount of $679,318.31. Item 9.5, request approval for the switching the rental of the storage containers from the Performing Arts Center to the Southern Middle School construction project. This is for Eagle Leasing Company, formerly Rent a Container. Looking for a motion to approve operation items numbers 9.1 to 9.5. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Do we have a second?
Schneider.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. Is there any discussion? Yes, Dr. Trickett, would you like to discuss that, please? Share some
Absolutely.
information.
Yes. So that particular change order, again, you can see here, this general contractor presents things a little bit differently for the board's review. So the agenda item requests approval of change order number 2, but then you have to drill into the change order to see exactly what's happening. First of all, those that are not in parentheses are additional charges. Those that are within parentheses are actually change orders coming back to the district as credits. So the most notable one here, the top one, ASI 7, pertains to the soil stabilization that we have discussed at our operations committees meetings now for several, well, at least 2 or 3 of the last meetings. This has to do with the soft soils on the site and ensuring that those soils are suitable for construction. Previously, the board approved a change order which was specifically for under the footers and under the actual building. This is a change order that Jeff has been working with our team over there for months on to get this down to what was actually needed through some additional engineering and analysis. And today, we are bringing forward a final potential change order for them to get started on the work. So essentially what this does is solidifies, shores up the soil to allow them to prepare for the parking lot. This should be the last soil stabilization change order that the board sees on this particular project. And as previously presented, all of this falls under the contingencies that we have allocated through our bond issuance to pay for. So this is all part of our original budgetary allocation, but it is significant. It's the largest change order to date that the board is considering. But it is necessary for us to move forward with the Lincoln Park project.
Thank you, Dr. Trickett. Any additional discussion? Okay, this is a roll call.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Item 10.1, request, looking for a request to approve the payment of bills as presented. Looking for a motion to approve finance item number 10.1.
McCray?
Thank you, Mr. McCray. Do we have a second? Mrs. Royer, thank you. Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
I apologize, you need to abstain today from this.
Abstain.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
5 yes, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. Item 10.3, request approval of the 2026-27 proposed final general fund budget in the amount of $161,100,000 at the real estate millage of 33.06 mils, as per the attached resolution. 10.4, request approval of the 2026-2027 behind-the-wheel driver education rates. Item 10.5, request approval of amendment to renew the district photography service agreement with Searfoss Images LLC through June 30th, 2030. Item 10.6, request approval to close the dormant health services fund and use the remaining balance for the purchase of district-wide AED machines. Looking for a motion to approve finance items 10.3 to 10.6.
McCray?
Thank you, Mr. McCray. Do we have a second? Dr. Kennedy, thank you. This is a roll call.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. I apologize. I realize I did not ask for any discussion on that matter. Was there any discussion now that it passed? No, thank you. Just wanted to make sure we covered that. On to teaching and learning. 11.1, request to approve the summer school credit recovery program for the 2026 summer session. Item 11.2, request approval of the agreements with SWIS Suite to implement school-wide positive behavioral interventions and supports at Green Valley and Whitfield Elementary Schools. Item 11.3, request approval to purchase subscription services from IXL Learning for the 2026-2027 high school math and English support services. Item 11.4, request approval of the 2026-2027 St. Joseph's University Lancaster Wilson School District dual enrollment agreement as attached, pending solicitor review and approval. Item 11.5, request approval of the 2026-2027 Reading Area Community College Wilson School District dual enrollment agreement as attached. Looking for a motion to approve teaching and learning items 11.1 to 11.5. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Is there a second?
Schneider.
Mr. Schneider, thank you. Any discussion? This is a roll call.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. Oh, here's the fun part of the evening. I'm requesting permission to temporarily appoint Mr. Robert Schneider, temporary board president, for the purpose of signing his daughter's diploma. May I have a voice vote? All in favor? Aye.
We need to go through.
Oh, do we actually have to do a full motion on
We
that?
do,
Oh,
yes.
okay,
Sorry,
I apologize.
yeah.
Can I have a motion for that? Yes, thank you, Dr. Kennedy, and a second. Mrs. Royer, all in favor? Aye. Since I know nobody's opposed, it passes. Very exciting. Thank you, Mr. Schneider.
I would also like to resign my position officially as board president.
Mr. Schneider, would you like to share where all of your money is going to be going for the next 4 years?
Yes, my daughter is going to be a TERP. She has chosen the University of Maryland to continue her educational experience.
Congratulations. That's very exciting.
She wants to go into international relations with a focus on public policy and French. So I told her she's building a very full plate with all of that in mind.
C'est magnifique, no? You know my love of French, so.
Oui.
Oui. Okay, so I'll do it correctly this time. I'm looking for a motion to temporarily appoint Mr. Sean McCray, board president, for the purpose of signing his daughter's diploma.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider, and is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
I just want to state that, as my daughters will attest to, I have very poor handwriting, so I've been practicing this all day long just to, because I get one shot, right?
It has to be in cursive. Has to be in cursive.
Okay.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah, so make sure it's all spelled right and everything. Good.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mr. McCray, would you like to share where your money will be going for the next 4 years?
A lot of it. It is going to, my daughter's going to be a political science major at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Yes.
Very exciting. Wonderful.
I will be very poor, but she will be very happy, so.
Some smart kiddos, definitely, both of you. Congratulations. Item 13.1, request approval of an agreement. This is looking for a motion to approve an agreement to host a band clinic at Wilson High School on July 11th, 2026.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. And
Casper.
Mrs. Casper for a second. This is any discussion? No? This is a roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Oh, no.
No, roll call.
Roll call. It is a roll call. I apologize. Mrs. Burkholder, I'm trying to do your job here.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. So we're having the first reading of policies 810, 102, and 105. Second reading of policy 218.1, and third and final reading of policy 801.
So we do need to vote on
Okay, so we'll, looking for a motion to approve policy 801 on public records.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Do we have a second?
Casper.
Thank you, Mrs. Casper. And this is a roll call.
Mrs. Royer,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. McCray,
Yes.
Mrs. Denny.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. We do not have any public participation on non-agenda items. Do we have any other business? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy.
As you may notice that several members of the board are a bit dressed down today. That's because we are pre-participating in our Whitfield Elementary's Dress Down Day, which is going to be Wednesday, May 13th. And we're inviting everyone in the district to participate in that May 13th Dress Down Day for $5. Last year, the Rice family was displaced after a house fire. It will still be another whole year until they are able to return home. All the donations will be given to the family to help in their rebuild. Envelopes will be in school offices, or you can Venmo Ashley Huff at Ashley-Huff-86. And everyone is invited to participate, again, $5 Dress Down Day. I will say, as a former teacher, there were two things that got me through the school week. First was bagels in the faculty room on Wednesday. If I could just make it to the bagels, then I had Friday Dress Down Days to look forward to. So this is a, good midweek Dress Down Day. It is 100% worth, even more than the $5. So again, we're inviting everyone in the whole district to participate in Whitfield's Dress Down Day, Wednesday, May 13th. Donate on Venmo to Ashley Huff, or find a school and they'll have envelopes in their office. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Well, this time of year is such a crazy time of year that there's about 1,000 things going on. I just wanted to mention the prom because I haven't been to a Wilson prom since my prom, and proms weren't held at Wilson when I went to Wilson. They were held at the Sheraton, which is no longer the Sheraton and is now closed beyond that. So I just want to say how impressive the whole experience was as a parent. When I showed up, I was a little shocked. I was the photographer. My husband was the chauffeur, so he got all dressed up. He really got into it. He was quite excited. So I was surprised to see Dr. Trickett and Mrs. Troutman doing traffic direction. And I actually don't know why I was surprised, because there's very few large events that administration, and in particular Mrs. Troutman, is not at anyway. I think your real title is Jack of all trades. The way the whole thing went, and moving the cars in and out and giving the students their moment of fame, and there were some women in front of me that were there in lawn chairs, and I actually don't think they were parents. I think they were there like it was the Oscars, and they were commenting on the dresses, and so here were these people that just came out like, hey, this is this event, let's recognize these students, and they were like, look at that dress, look, oh, that couple, and it was wonderful. And afterwards, when I was talking to my daughter, and the moms here of teenagers will appreciate this, that there's teenagers and drama go hand in hand, and usually those discussions happen at 11 o'clock at night when you're trying to go to bed. So I was all, so she came in, I'm like, oh, give me the tea, like what happened at the thing? She's like, oh, it was great, Mom. Like, no drama, it was just so wonderful that all there was positive, glowing reviews, from everybody's dresses to the food to the decoration. It was all entirely positive. And so for that to come from a teenager and a teenage girl mouth is about as great of a review as you can get, that it was just that good. So from the students who did the setup, to the high school staff and administrators who were there, to the district administrators, and just everybody who was involved, thank you for putting on such a special event for all of our students. I'm already looking forward to next year. I'm going to have to start saving now because it's, you know, quite the expensive event with all the stuff. It's become quite the event, but it was really wonderful and a memory that I think our kids will save for years to come. So thank you. Anything else? I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
Schneider, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Meeting adjourned.